welcome back to Model Base Alpha. My name's Andy. Thanks for joining me as this episode I dive into the back of the stash again. As I record this, we're rapidly approaching the end of July, and I thought this kit might be appropriate. This is a Larson Designs resin kit. And earlier this month, Larson Designs announced that they were no longer trading. They were going to stop both producing and selling kits. So I decided to dig out this Eagle laser tank. Most people call it the Eagle laser tank for fairly obvious reasons. But if ever the phrase fan favorite was applicable to a vehicle, I think probably this one is definitely a fan favorite. It's possibly my favorite laser tank. If you agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment below. A fairly simple kit. So as you can see, this is the top half of the laser tank, fully cast in one piece. It's going to require just a minor amount of cleanup. Otherwise, detailing like these grills are very sharply cast. Perhaps the only criticism is the actual, I guess, command module is perhaps a little too long, or certainly this section perhaps, but you know, variant and all that. So yeah, we'll get started on this. Some other pieces. The lower half of the hull for the tracks comes cast in one piece, and this may look familiar. To make this, you'd also need one of these, FX Chieftain, and as you can see, this part of the hull and the sides here have already been cast. What it doesn't include though is the wheels and also the suspension. So all these will need to be taken from this donor kit and applied along the side as so. The other part of the kit is some minor detailing. We have the radar dish. This doesn't include the, I guess you call it, antenna piece. So we'll be using some thin rod, some evergreen styrene for that. And then it also includes things like the tank that goes along the side, laser gun mount, and some other minor detailing for the laser gun, etc. And then the four pieces that go along the rear of the hull. These are all the same piece. One of them does have a greebly, so along the top, so probably scratch build that or a close approximation. And then obviously the laser gun itself. Not expecting too many problems with this, so gonna do some cleanup, just a tiny amount of puttying, some very minor holes, and we should be able to get cracking on this. Well, the lower section's gone together fairly well. No reason why it shouldn't, as it consists mostly of FX parts and a part cast from an Airfix kit. So one thing I was querying was the color of the tracks, and looking at the photos of the studio models, they do seem to be kind of a grey. These are kind of more silvery, but verging on grey, I guess, is good enough. The only reason I was questioning that is some of the Airfix kits, depending on which issue of the Chieftain you get, come with black tracks. So not a huge deal breaker, but at least these more closely resemble the studio originals, so happy with that. Couple of things as I've been progressing on the top half of the tank. I notice I only get one side tank, and checking reference photos there are two. So imagine that, me buying a garage kit via somebody off the internet and not getting all the kit parts. That's unusual, isn't it? So I have to dive into the spare parts box and see what I can do. The other thing I noticed is the ends of these parts are actually recessed. So what I intend to do is drill these out and give them a little bit more realism for what is on the studio model. So hopefully this one should be a good fit. So yeah, that's coming up next, along with a few other pieces. Also, this part, these two raised circular parts, with this lower one has another circular piece on top. This one has something. On the original studio model, there's a very thin strip of styrene that connects the two, so probably going to snip this, flatten it off so that it kind of matches this one, which will make it easier to add a little bit of rod on there. So yeah, work seems to be going okay. Putted some of the smaller holes and refined some of the edges a little bit. So I think it's looking okay. So I'll have a progress report shortly. I've been wondering about the second tank, the one that's missing. So several options. I thought, well, perhaps I could just get a rod of styrene and round off the ends, or I thought I could look for something tank-like that I might already have, and it occurred to me that maybe there's something in the Mercury Gemini kit. Basically, many parts were used for various 1999 models, and lo and behold, I could use this small tank for the other side. Not totally accurate, but I think for the scale involved, it's possibly going to be a little bit easier just to drop that in. By the time it's painted the same color, I'm not sure it's going to be hugely noticeable. So yeah, I think that's probably a solution to the problem, and get that attached. I've probably been a bit overzealous with the masking, but I wanted to do some more work on the front of this tank, and what I decided to go ahead and do at this stage is get the viewports done. as I'd like to get a feeling of how these are going to look and if they're going to need any work prior to anything being added greebly wise. And yeah, there's a a lot of masking on here, but I wanted to try and get as clean a line as possible first time. So yeah, there's several layers of tape here. That is going to require slight cleanup. It was slightly difficult in this is actually recessed at the front as well, so you actually have a surface at the front. Just going to have to okay, inside where I thought was the trickiest part has indeed proven to be problematic. So that, yeah, otherwise slight cleanup, but overall the edges are not too bad. So I think a little bit of cleanup on there, and can proceed putting more stuff together. So I'll work on that and report back. So it's time to start applying some of the detailing to the top of the laser tank, and I've been looking at the parts for the radar, and I'm not overly happy with the section of the radar dish itself. So I've cut a new circular part out of plastic card, and looking at images of the original studio scale model, it seems on the rear it's there's a dome part, and looking through stash kits, something rather close from the Airfix Sea King. This looks like it's going to fit just about perfectly. And ironically, the Sea King provides some parts for one of the derelicts from Dragon's Domain, so seems reasonable to use that. It's not perfect. There's some ribbing on this part, but I think at this scale it's possibly going to, and it's going to be on the rear, so you're not going to see it, which just leaves the front facing part. And again, I need something with a very slight dome. And also, ironically again, was looking at the Airfix Panther kit. I was looking at the road wheels and was thinking, if I remove the outer rim, the raised bit, I'm going to be left with something that's going to be roughly the same size as what looks like on the original kit. And in the immortal words of Blue Peter, here's one I did earlier. As this is going to be front facing, I think it still needs some removal of the base part, but I think once that's done, I think that's going to be just about perfect. Well, it is for me. So I'm going to get working on that. The other thing I've noticed is this part here should actually be facing this way if the dish is pointing upwards and outwards. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there. Probably just cut that off and stick that on the front. But I think that's going to be a little bit better if I do that. Additionally, there's the gun mount to go on. That goes at the front, so I'll be doing that. The kit didn't come with any decals, which, as far as I'm aware, most, if not all of the Larson kits don't. None of the ones I've ever purchased have ever come with decals. So I've been looking through the stash again, and this old MPC kit. Been looking at the Moonbase Alpha logos, and these seem to be about the smallest ones, certainly smaller than the current MPC issue, round 2 issue. So I think I'm going to be using those. Additionally, if you have, where are they? Mark 9 Hawk, again from round 2 MPC. The vast majority of the decals needed for this laser tank are actually found on this sheet. Offhand, there's only one on the rear that I can think of that isn't on here, but that's not a huge problem. So yeah, probably going to be applying some decals as well, and do need more of a base coat on this, and then clear coat. So that's going to come up next, and like I say, I'll be applying the greeblies and the decals, and we should be approaching the home straight on this. I think things are slowly coming together. The reason I chose, as I mentioned, the original MPC Moonbase Alpha logo is because of its size, and sure enough, it fits perfectly where it's supposed to fit. Obviously had a gloss coat, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply the rest of the decals that I have that go where they need to go. Various greeblies have also been decaled so that they can go on the rear. The radar dish has been completed. Obviously going to need some paint on that, so that's going to get painted. And yeah, I think things are, oh, and also the main laser gun has been decaled as well. So like I said, think things are coming together, and going to apply the rest of the decals and see what that looks like. It's getting late in the afternoon. I think I'm just about done with the decals. Most of them I've tried to replicate what's on the original studio scale model. However, did perhaps go slightly overboard with some additional ones. Not having an actual set of decals, well, I was going to say didn't help, but it wasn't really a hindrance. So thinking of getting the final assembly done. Shouldn't be too much to do, and perhaps getting this thing finished, if not tonight, certainly tomorrow, and have some sort of final reveal and see what the actual finished laser tank looks like. So I'm going to assemble the rest of it and be right back. I've applied the final matte coat to the tank. And what I like about the Tamiya matte is, before I show you the tank, I want to do a quick update on the Replicas Unlimited. Got the framework for the spine finished off and decaled, and once you put the Tamiya flat on, I'm actually pretty pleased with this. I think it's looking pretty nice. Once again, started off as a reproduction, but then kind of went crazy again with the decals. So yeah, I'm liking how that looks. Another quick update is the studio scale pilot ship. This is one of the pieces that's finished. This is the front section, and of course another couple of Harrier pieces. Yeah, it seems to be covered in Harrier parts, so there's two. I'll be doing another update video on that coming soon. But time for the final look at the laser tank. Well, that's the laser tank just about finished. Did learn a few things during its construction. So as a novice builder, that's always a good thing. It's not a perfect kit. The problem for me was in the command module area. The surfaces aren't totally flat or smooth, and I didn't realize that, or couldn't see that, until I'd got the first coat of black down. And then trying to get in there to smooth that out without affecting the surrounding area was actually fairly difficult, well, for me anyway. So not perfect in there, but overall quite happy with the result. Larson, as I mentioned earlier, Larson's Designs have actually ceased building kits and selling them. Bit of a shame, because there was talk of a studio scale Swift. I can only imagine how expensive that would have been. They also did the two other laser tanks, so they're out there. To be honest, in my humble opinion, they're not quite as good as the small artworks, which are same scale-ish, or the 1/48th laser tanks by Uncle. But, you know, there aren't that many of these kits out there, apparently. I haven't seen any on eBay. They only seem to be sold through Larson Designs Facebook and website. But if you're interested, always keep an eye on eBay, as some other Larson's kits have popped up on there from time to time. So if you've made it to the end, I really appreciate you watching. It means a lot to me. Other stuff coming up, so I hope you'll stay tuned for upcoming videos. Many thanks. Cheers.